Hey, welcome to the 5 o'clock Somewhere News. I'm Adam Burke. I'm going to make you a delicious cocktail and talk about the news, because once you hear that news, you're going to need a drink. Today's drink is a Negroni, classic. Thanks to Rob Gleeson for the suggestion and Mike Polino for tips on the recipe. My favorite thing about a Negroni is that it's named after a guy, like a Count Negroni or something, who substituted soda for gin in his cocktail, and that's just a type of drunk aristocracy we don't see enough of anymore. First step optional, but I'm going to go ahead and chill my cocktail glasses for this. You can put ice in them or stick them in the freezer. I'm going to stick them in the freezer. We're going to build the drink in a cocktail shaker and then strain it into our glasses. As always, this recipe is going to make enough for 2 cocktails, or one really big one. Start with 2.5 ounces of gin. Over the weekend, it was announced that several senior aides to Mike Pence had tested positive for the coronavirus. It's not surprising. I mean, Mike Pence assembled a team to take down coronavirus. Makes sense that coronavirus would assemble a team to take down Mike Pence. Only difference is coronavirus seems to know what it's doing. As of Sunday, apparently as many as 5 of Mike Pence's aides had contracted the disease. Usually I hear a sentence with the words Mike Pence, AIDS, and preventable outbreak. I just assume it's a story about his time as governor of Indiana. If you don't get that one, look it up. But no, turns out this story is about the fact that the guy the president made head of the coronavirus task force failed to prevent the president, the president's wife, the president's son, and a bunch of his own staff members from catching the virus. In fact, the only person the vice president has prevented from getting COVID is himself. That's like finding out that Lyndon Johnson was in charge of security for Dealey Plaza. You had one job, Veep. Why aren't you doing it? Then 2 ounces of this stuff, Campari. 1.5 ounces sweet red vermouth. NASA announced that not only had it successfully landed a spacecraft on an asteroid, but its mining probe had begun to drill into the surface. Is this what Joe Biden meant about transitioning away from fracking? Like, we're still going to frack, but we're going to transition it away from planet Earth? As for the probe, NASA said that it was easier to take a mining robot and teach it spaceflight than it was to take a space robot and teach it how to mine. And yes, that is a joke about how dumb the plot to the movie Armageddon is. Yes, it's been 2 decades, but it still bugs the shit out of me. NASA also said that it will take 3 years for them to receive any rock samples, not because of the distance, but because they're being sent via the US Postal Service. This bit's going to be optional for some of you. 1 or 2 drops of orange bitters. Just want to add a couple pieces of ice. House Republicans announced plans to investigate Joe Biden's use of Amtrak for political purposes, while Biden's campaign responded that any candidate can lease a train. I mean, yeah, they can if they're running against William Jennings Bryan. I mean, Biden is so old-timey, I think the next thing they'll have on Hunter is an incriminating telegram. I don't know if Biden's involved in the Burisma scandal, but he's definitely involved in the Teapot Dome scandal. Okay, put your strainer on. Strain that into your glass. FIDE, the International Governing Board for the Game of Chess, has said that the pandemic has caused a widespread increase in the number of people cheating in online games. Finally, something to unite the world's nerds into ending this crisis. One suspected cheat from Armenia denied any kind of foul play and instead said that his recent winning streak was due to the fact that he drinks gin while he plays. I don't know if this guy is guilty of cheating, but he's definitely guilty of stealing my favorite excuse. Hey man, I'm not looking at your cards. The whiskey's looking at your cards. Apparently FIDE first noticed the swindlers via a system described as, quote, a model that detects cheating, or as Donald Trump calls it, my worst nightmare. Again, optional. Garnish with a lemon twist. And that's a Negroni, and this has been the 5 o'clock Somewhere News. Cheers.